everyone, welcome back this week to the Sunny Views, and this podcast is going to be a spooky podcast. Today we will be reading stories, Halloween stories of Reddit, and we will be discussing them with Lumia and Daniel. Okay, so let's start forward into the first spooky Halloween story. When I was about 13, my mom and dad invited round our previous neighbors from the block of flat we lived in until I was 5 years old. Anyways, I'd been sent to bed but could still hear everyone talking about this and that until the woman neighbor said, "Hey, Digsy's mom, do you remember when Digsy used to complain that there was someone in his room? Well, there's a family that's just moved into the floor above who have a 3 years old son. He is complaining about the exact same things Digsy did." This creeped me out. I had no recollection of any of this. So the next day, I asked my mom. Her first reaction was, "You don't remember?" Then she told me all about the weird stuff that used to happen, footstep up and down the hall, stuff going missing, and other stuff. She said the final thing to happen was when she was listening to a record one day and it started to slow down, like someone was holding a finger gently on the platter till it finally came to a stop. My mom said she snapped at this point and started shouting, "Will you leave us the F alone?" As soon as she said this, the record went straight back to playing normally, and we never experienced anything again. I've never experienced anything like that since. And these days, I'm quite skeptical of such stories, but I believe my mom. Strangest thing is how I found out about it from someone else 10 years later experiencing something similar. What do you guys think about this? This is a bit confusing. But
sounds scary.
Yeah, but I think it's a typical thing. I think everyone can experience that kind of story, where something weird happens and then they say like stop and it actually stops.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't stop.
Actually, like your story.
Like my story.
Okay, move on to the next story. Okay, this is by the way, to our viewers, sorry if it's not all perfect because it's obviously a Reddit story, so people wrote it. So sometimes it might be a bit confusing or using swear word, that's why, Okay, so second story. Okay, this is 100% true, even though most people I tell this to in real life don't believe me. When I was really little, my parents would let me stay up late on the weekends and watch TV until I fell asleep. I really loved these times and I would stay up later than anybody else just because I could. Well, one night, I was almost asleep on the couch when I heard a noise on our front porch. It was the sound of our old-fashioned porch swing moving back and forth. I was a little scared, so I crept toward the bay windows of my living room and peeked out towards the porch. Sitting on my front porch swing was an older woman, probably in her 50s, wearing nothing but a nightgown, covered in blood and holding a huge kitchen knife. I flipped out immediately and ran screaming into my parents' room, but was too terrified to form words. My parents saw that I was upset, but when I was finally able to tell them what I saw, my dad got really angry and told me that it was just a dream and to go back to bed. I refused and kept crying and screaming until he had enough and snatched my arm and dragged me toward the front door to prove that nothing was there. I kicked and screamed all the way, trying to make him stop, but he kept pulling me. Finally, we got to the door. He unlocked it, swung it open, and said, "See, there's nothing that," and then stopped. To this day, I have never seen the look of fear and shock that was on his face when that woman turned and stared at both of us, slowly stood up with the knife.
What?
What? My dad slammed the door.
Is this real?
Well, apparently it's 100% real.
What?
But
oh my god.
My dad slammed the door shut and got my mom to call the police while he went and got his gun. Oh, that's probably in America. He went back to the door with a 12 gauge and cracked the door enough to take the barrel out. He asked her what she was doing and she said, "Somebody killed my husband, but it wasn't me." My dad told her that the police were coming and she freaked out, grabbed a knife, and walked away. The police found her 15 minutes later trying to break into one of our neighbor's house. I never slept in the living room again. That is
Oh, fair
crazy.
enough.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
scary.
That's so scary.
That's like, how is that even real?
Maybe it's not.
What is the police even supposed to do with that after?
Yeah.
Arrest her.
Yeah. Well, let's see what people said. Most people won't believe this. I thought what? Most people won't believe this. I thought you were gonna tell us some stuff about ghosts or demons, but this seems legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary.
It could
I've
be.
seen
I-
films like similar
Yeah,
to.
I don't think people would lie about this. I mean,
No.
would they? I don't know.
I feel like there's so many people who've had like crazy stories.
Yeah.
Like very crazy stories that I could never imagine happening to me. And then they put them on Reddit because they know they'll get like a lot of people
Yeah.
talking about it and
For
liking
sure.
it.
For sure. Do you guys want to read one?
Daniel, you can
Daniel?
go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. Out loud.
sorry.
Any day now. Okay.
This one says, I'm not sure how freaky it is since it's not paranormal or anything, but when I was about 7 years old, I went on a walk with my babysitter. We were walking back a mile or so to my house on a fairly busy road, and about halfway there, she says, we should play Simon Says. At first, we walked faster, then skip, and then jog slightly. Then she says, Simon says, run as fast as you can. Simon says, turn here. I was slightly confused but played along. As we turned down the driveway, I looked back and saw two guys chasing after us, one with a bat and the other with a
What?
knife. We ran up to a house and some old people living there let us in, thankfully. At the time, I didn't grasp how messed up it was, but it was that we were getting chased, and I still have no clue why they were.
Oh
That's
my
it.
god. That's so
Yeah, that's
crazy.
scary.
We
How
should try
traumatized-
it.
But
What
that's,
do you mean?
On Halloween we try.
Which one
Simon
was?
says. Like Simon says.
what happens to the
But
babysitter?
the babysitter was saying Simon
Yeah.
Says because some people were like chasing them. So
Why-
and she said Simon. She acted like it was a
Yeah,
game, so the
yeah.
kid wouldn't get freaked out.
And then when she said run, they ran and the people
Stop.
Yeah,
started chasing them.
because the people were actually running after them, but she probably didn't want to freak out the kid.
Oh my god.
That's scary.
So she played. But it's nice from the babysitter.
Yeah, that's very smart.
That is.
Mm.
That's so
Lumia-
scary. What?
Lumia.
Which one?
That one.
This one.
This.
Yeah.
Or this.
Well, it's a whole one.
Okay. Oh, this is the whole one.
I think so.
Okay. When I was younger, we frequently visited my grandparents around holidays, even though we didn't live in the same town. My aunt lived 2 houses down from my grandparents. The lady in the house between was creepy. She was a large woman, over 6 feet. She wore she wore logging chains around her neck, a dress, and work boots. The only time I remember seeing her outside was either in her garden, in the back, or when she was washing the outside of her house, scrubbing the actual building. She did this often. During these times, she would yell at us kids and call us all kinds of things. She would tell us the devil would be coming for us. The adults told us to leave her alone and to avoid her. We would run the distance between my aunts and my grandparents because when you passed by, she was watching out the windows. It was creepy and we never went alone. One Halloween, one of the cousins dared us to trick or treat her house. I remember how scared I was, but I didn't want to be a chicken, plus I was going with the group. One of us rang the doorbell and there was a lot of banging noises in the house, suddenly like doors slamming. When she answered the door, she had a severed head in her hands. Oh, weird. And we all went screaming. The adults told us it was a Halloween prop, and we knew we shouldn't be bothering her and deserved to be scared. About a month later, my parents got a phone call that the lady had tried to kill my aunt while she was bringing in groceries and had my young cousin in her arms. The lady had one of them rope saws and had come up behind my aunt with it. She put it over her head and around her neck and proceeded to saw. My aunt naturally flipped and started kicking the door. My uncle came and beat the lady down with a fire poker. The police investigation revealed that the woman had been digging tunnels under her home, which were coming up under my aunt's, my grandparents, and another neighbor's house. She had been bringing the dirt up and putting it, and she raised beds of the gardens. She also had a shrine of some sort underground, which had a few severed heads around it. My aunt survived, but has a long scar across her neck.
Oh,
my god,
Wow.
that's so scary. That's like true crime.
bro, what?
That's like
It's the typical horror story where you have a neighbor, like an old
Yeah.
guy or old lady that are really scary, and you're freaked out as a kid.
That is
Yeah.
a scary one.
Do you guys
Mhm.
go trick or treating? By the way, like when was the last time you went trick or treating?
That's a good question.
I used to go more, but not anymore.
Yeah, I feel like in Spain people don't go
Yeah,
that
No.
much.
No, and in France either.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I was still a kid when I lived in France, and I really wanted to do it, but like
Mhm.
people just wouldn't do it. And like in France, Halloween is really creepy.
Oh.
It's this is really scary, but basically they take Halloween like for real. And I remember there was one year where there was how do you call them? Like people actually was not with knives
Oh my god.
stabbing people,
Oh.
and they were dressed up, but they were
Mhm.
actually not dressed up.
Like this was real.
Yeah, like you know in America how there was this period of time of something clowns.
Yeah,
Yeah,
killer
like-
clowns.
Killer clowns. Well, it
We
was,
had those in Finland actually.
Actually?
Yes, we did.
oh my
I
god.
remember like it was like near Halloween and I was in primary and one of the like my classmates came in and he was like, "Oh, I got chased by a killer clown." He was like crying and he thought he was gonna die because he got chased on the way to school. And it was like so scary time. Like I always thought that like because I had a big garden in my like backyard
Mhm.
and like there was also like a forest. I always thought that there was gonna be a clown coming from the forest to my house and trying to get in
I
and kill
know.
us.
So
It was such a scary
it's like that's what people were doing in France. The Purge.
Oh, with
Oh
the
my
film,
God,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the film. But they were. I remember there was something on social media that everyone was saying, "Wait, let's actually like do it
What?
for in
That's
real
scary.
life."
Have you seen the films?
Yes, I've
Yeah,
seen
I
Yeah.
tried. It's really
I like them.
scary. And it was like, and I was seeing stuff as in like the government approved for one night where you can do whatever you want, and I was like, what?
What?
But I wish we would do trick or treating. I remember when
Yeah.
I lived in Qatar, it was a really big thing, and
Mm.
you know people live in those kind of residential area, and I had a friend who lived there, and it's so nice because everyone
Mm.
goes trick or treating, and it's really nice.
Yeah, in Finland it's also a very big tradition. I feel like people my age also still go in Finland, but here, when we moved here, we didn't go trick or treating or anything, and no one came to our house either.
Yeah,
Like when-
nobody's.
Yeah. I know.
And it's so weird because it was such a big tradition in my childhood to go trick or treating.
And by the way, reading stories, what are you guys' favorites Halloween stories? Is it paranormal activity stories about ghosts and everything, true crime stories, or here I have one about an urban legend?
Probably
What'd you
true crime.
Yeah,
Because
true
they're the only
crime.
ones that like truly scary. 'cause
Yeah,
the
because
ones
it
you-
actually
yeah, the
happened.
ones you know
Yeah,
are like
Could be like
yeah.
I like a lot paranormal activities one about ghosts
yeah,
and everything. Do you want to hear the one about the urban legend?
yeah,
Yep.
sure.
Okay, let's see. So, I don't have any way to verify whether this is actually a family story or whether it's an urban legend, but here. My family has lived in rural Nebraska since they immigrated from Germany in the mid 80s. Near the turn of the century, disease was pretty rampant in the homesteading area, and it killed off members of almost every family. When someone died from illness, time of the sense in burying them as not to let the virus spread from the deceased to the living.
Deceased.
Oh, sorry, deceased to the living. This meant no wake period. So an aunt of someone unknown, number of greats, preceding her relationship to me, dies of some disease, and she gets buried in the family cemetery on the homestand. The dog were very fond of her, so it wasn't too surprising that after the funeral, the two dogs stuck near the grave. The rest of the family began to think something of it when a week and a half later, the dogs were still visiting her grave almost constantly. But they weren't just at a grave. They were visibly this street friend. What? Do you want to read this because there's some really weird words in it?
They were visibly distressed, frantic, and often barking while there. This goes on for maybe 2 weeks, and the family decides to check it out. They dig the casket up and open it. The deceased hair has all been pulled out. Her fingers are raw and bloody and mangled from where, on the inside of the casket door, they can see deep scratches in the wood. She was comatose when they buried her, and she came to while underground, spending probably her last 5 or so days alive in a buried casket.
What? I don't understand.
So I think they buried her while she was alive, but they thought she was dead.
Oh, you know that? I heard that happened a lot lately with people getting how do you call it? When you're dead and you get into a...
People are saying like, "Oh, we have a winner. Thanks for posting that. I am absolutely freaked out."
But yeah.
I know it's happened a lot because they used to have like bells in the coffins. So people could like ring.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that not long ago. Bells, or I saw something else, but I can't remember.
I'm
You
just
wanna
like
read-
looking at the comments.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just, yeah, that was a scary one in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I didn't really understand this one.
Should I read in
Yeah.
the next one? Okay, I'm a kid who likes his sleep very much, so my dad often had to wake me up as I slept through my alarm. He wakes me up the same way every time, by gently putting a hand on my shoulder, and then since I usually plead for 5 more minutes, he yanks the covers off and forces me up. So a few weeks ago, I had to get up very early to go play pickup basketball in the morning with some friends. I set my alarm the night before and went to sleep. My dad works very far away, so he often sleeps at work 2 or 3 nights a week, and that night he wasn't sleeping at home, so I knew I had to get myself up. I eventually fall asleep, and I then wake up to a hand on my shoulder. Murmur the usual 5 more minutes, and then I feel the covers yanked off me all the way off the bed. I shot up out of bed because it was a habit at this point, because this is when I knew my dad was serious. I opened my eyes and it was pitch black in my room and nobody was there. I looked around and saw nothing, just the lights on my clock that said it was 2:30 in the morning. I was a little more than slightly freaked out. I asked my mom in the morning if my dad had came home, but she said no, he had stayed at work. Something woke me the F up in the middle of the night and yanked all the covers off my bed, but nothing was there.
Oh, that's
What?
scary.
This sounds like... Have you guys ever had sleep paralysis?
No.
No, but
No.
I've heard like many people have.
Have
I
you?
never want to have one ever in
Yeah,
my life.
I've heard
What
it's
is
very...
it? Like I know what it is, but I don't know exactly.
Basically, you're like on your bed. It's like the middle of the night, and you can't move. You just have your eyes open. You can't move. You can't scream. You can't talk. You can't do anything. And you see these like black figures that are weird shaped. They're
and
always...
it feels very real.
Yeah, it feels really real. And the figures, they're really high, like really tall. And they come like slowly, they come near you more and more and more, and
Yeah.
you just can't do anything about it.
And it's not like a dream because you're
Yeah.
like awake, but you can't move. It's just, it's like,
Then how does that end?
I think it's just like...
there's techniques. I know some people like pinch themselves,
Yeah.
or they do something that just work for them, so they wake up. But do you want to tell us the story of your friend,
Which story?
Lumi, of your friend?
Oh yeah, my one friend from Finland, she lives in Finland. She like has woken up many times during the night because she had a sleep paralysis, and it's like she's like sending us like photos or videos, and she's like, guys, you can see them, right? Like you can see these figures, right? And we're like, what are you talking about? Like I can't see anything. But then like she's like, no, it's definitely there. It's definitely there. And it's like pitch black. You can't see anything, but she's sending us pictures and like circling something in the room. But obviously we can't see
Oh.
anything. And that's like the same thing. Like, and that happens to her a lot, I've heard. And
This is
I
really
don't know.
scary.
That is scary.
I hope it never happens to me.
I know, because it's like, I don't know if you guys have ever been in a dream like this, where you want to scream for your mom as a little kid, and you want to scream for your mom so bad, and you try, but you were screaming, but no sound is coming out of your mouth, and it's horrible. Okay, I have a long one here. So this is my first comment. So I know that doesn't help in the credibility departments, but this is completely true. So my mom remarried about 2 years ago. My dad died when I was 12, so she had been widowed for over 10 years. This new relationship was very whirlwind, with them meeting, dating, and getting married within 3 months. I didn't know much about the guy, but my mom was happy, so I just tried to be supportive. She moved into his house in upstate Virginia and invited my fiance and I to spend a weekend in her new home, getting to know her and her new husband. My mom's new home was pretty isolated. It sat on a few hundred acres of lovely rolling hills and was very picturesque. I was nervous about getting to know this guy, but really trying to make the most of it. Over the course of our first day there, though, I felt more and more uneasy. I didn't think it was weird, just silly. My mom's new husband was being very welcoming and friendly. We were being made to feel very at home. Yet I still couldn't shake this obsessive feeling. I finally shulked it up to me being more upset about my mom getting remarried, and I was willing to admit it to myself. We spent most of the day wandering around outside since I felt worst when indoors. That night, my fiance and I showered together. When I turned my back to him, he stopped talking mid-sentence and asked, "What did you do to your back?" "Well, nothing. Why?" "You have a large bruise." I hoped out to try and see it in the mirror. Then it was off to bed. The one window in our room looked out over a pitch black empty field, but I couldn't sleep until I hung something over the window. I felt sure that otherwise someone would watch us through the window. The next morning, I had a complete meltdown. I woke up and just couldn't stop crying. I told my fiance we had to leave. He tried to calm me down by telling all the things I had been telling myself. My feelings of anxiety were just a result of seeing my mom with someone. The longer I spent with them, the easier it would become. But I just had to leave. It was only Saturday morning and we were supposed to stay until Monday, but I felt completely hysterical. I knew I was on the verge of a panic attack, and my only concrete thought was I had to stop crying long enough to make our excuses and get the hell out. We did. As soon as we were on the road, I felt like a weight has been lifted. I was even feeling embarrassed for my behavior, hoping I hadn't insulted my mom's husband by leaving early. Then my fiance broke the silence. "That bruise on your back, did you get a look at it?" I had. It looked like some had touched the mid of my back, with fingers spread wide, with their hands at a tilt. I want to make completely clear, no one had touched my back the previous day, especially hard enough to bruise me. Cut to 3 weeks later, my mom comes to visit me. The entire time she's hounding me to come stay with her again. After finally trying to change the subject for the 5th time, I level with her. Before I've even finished telling the story, her face is white as a sheet. She tells me she has been feeling the same way in the house. She hates it. She wants them to move as soon as possible. And the real kicker, her new husband's previous wife shot and killed herself right outside in the same field our room window overlooked.
Wow,
That's
scary.
crazy. So basically, the guy's ex-wife killed herself in the house. So she was
like her ghost.
Yeah, was
Wow.
probably mad that he got
Oh.
remarried or something. Oof.
That's so scary.
I've seen that happen to so many people, having random bruise or
Yeah.
random scars or stuff like that on their body.
That's scary.
Oh.
Has it ever happened to you guys or?
No.
Probably, but I can't remember. If I remember, Al.
It was
Wait, can I say one thing?
Yeah, of course.
It really reminds me of the Conjunction movies we watched.
Conjuring. Oh yeah, well that's a typical Conjuring movie.
We watched them every time.
But yeah, I don't know if you guys have watched the Conjuring movies.
Yeah, no, that's scary.
Depending your age, you shouldn't. But yeah, they're really scary and yeah. You can go for it.
It was October 11th, 2001, 1 month after 9/11. I was 14 years old. 14 years old, and my grandfather died in his sleep. An empty bottle of whiskey at his bedside. I was devastated. He was the best grandpa, and I could tell I was his favorite. At his at his funeral, I remember standing at his ceremony. I was a little further back than most of our family. I needed my space and I was grieving hard. Then I remember closing my eyes, folding my arms, and burying my head into my jacket and crying. My mum then put her arm around me and cried with me. I felt her, heard her crying into my cheek, her voice moored by my jacket. She let go and I opened my eyes. What I saw made my heart skip a beat. My mother was standing 20 feet in front of me, and everyone was. I looked around and realized I was completely alone the whole time. I don't know who hugged me. Maybe it was my grandpa. Maybe I mistook my grandpa's voice for my mother's. To this day, I'm still confused and a little creeped out.
Wow, that
I was
reminds me.
scared.
That reminds me of two stories I had.
Actually,
Yeah, one is mine, and then another one is one of my friends. So basically, I have a friend, and she has, and her dad is really into kind of ghost
Yeah.
things, and he really believes in that and astrology and everything. And he told me, and I saw that friend over the summer, and obviously her dad too. And her dad told me that he was really close to his grandma, and he lived in London at that time, but the grandma lived in Italy. So and she was about to die. She was like,
yeah.
last step of life, but he couldn't go back to Italy to say bye to her. And one night he was sleeping, and he saw his grandma saying, "Bye, like this is my time. Like it's time that I want to go. I need to go. I don't want to be in pain anymore, but I want to say goodbye to you. I really need to say goodbye to you." So he was really confused. He didn't know if it was for real or not. And then he eventually fell asleep, and then eventually it was the next day. And the next day, the grandma died. The grandma was
Oh.
dead.
Oh, that's scary.
But
I've heard
he
stories
saw
of that.
her.
Yeah.
He saw her like standing there. I actually have 3 stories. I have another one that comes up to my mind, which is a girl that used to see. I don't know that girl, but I've seen her on like social media. So once again, I don't know if it's for real, but she used to see her dead grandma crying on the edge of her bed every night for like
What?
3 years.
That's
3
scary.
years before she went to bed, like before she fell asleep, she saw her grandma on the edge of her bed crying so much. And then the thing that has happened to me was when my grandma passed away, like now, I'm not like 4 years ago. I was falling asleep, but I know that I was still awake. Like I know that I was still awake, because I take quite a long time to fall asleep, so I'm always just thinking about stuff. And then I feel something really heavy on my legs, like someone was sitting on my legs.
Yeah.
And then I hear really close to my ear, Hortense. And then I opened my eyes, obviously, and nothing was there.
Well, that's scary.
And then I
I've
said,
heard stories like
and then I said, what? And then I felt the weight that was on my legs like go away.
Who did it
Oh
sound
my
like
God.
that? Anyone who knew?
It just sounded like neutral. Like
Yeah.
it didn't sound like my grandma or like my mom or my dad. It just sounded like, I don't know, neutral.
Mm.
And I thought of it because because I didn't get to go to her funerals because I was already in Spain and I had exams going on. So, it was really scary.
Mm. Oh wait, I'm like in the middle of.
Oh,
eating
okay, sorry.
something.
Okay, I'll go. Okay, so
It's taking a lot.
I have posted this before, but my sister used to claim she saw a lady in a black dress in our stairway when she was little. And my uncle, who got divorced and moved in with us, said he used feel like a cat was in the room with him. He claimed he felt a cat jump on the bed at night and knock things off the windows sill. Well, when my dad was redoing the drywall in the stairway, he found an old black and white picture of a lady in a black dress with a cat on her lap. Creepy. Did you guys get it?
No, not really.
No, I didn't.
And you guys were
No, it
saying
sounds
yeah,
scary
yeah.
though. Yeah.
Okay, basically, like there was people in a house, and the daughter saw a lady with a black dress, and then the uncle who lived with them felt like a cat was jumping everywhere at night and knocking things off. And basically, when the dad was like redoing the house, like renovating it, he found a picture of a lady with a black dress and
with a cat,
like holding a cat.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
I have like a similar story, but I'm not sure if I can really talk about it. But I don't know if I can talk about it, but it's like my friend saw something on the day of like one of her parents' death, and then it was there like it was like an animal, and the same animal was outside of her like room, like the same animal that was there when like her parent was dying. And it's like so crazy because it's so like the coincidence of it, and that really reminds me of the same thing. And I think it's so crazy.
Okay, this one's long, so I don't
know. I've got two stories. One's creepy and one's not creepy.
Then read the one that's creepy.
Well, here's the first one. My mum is the oldest of 6 children, and the oldest 5 are all 2 years apart from each other. So when she was in high school and around 16, 17, she did a lot of babysitting for her siblings, my aunts and uncles. She's babysitting the family one night in winter, and the phone rings. It's the neighbor across the street. Neighbor tells her, "Don't turn around, but we are looking at your house right now, and we can see you and your siblings watching TV, and we see the back of your head while you're sitting on the sofa." Okay, my mum says, thinking this is really weird. Well, the neighbor says, "We also see a man right outside of the house, staring right into the window of the room. You and your siblings are all in. Don't move, don't do anything," and we've already called the cops. The cops show up a few minutes later, and the man fled the scene and was never caught. But being winter, there was a dusting of snow on the ground, and there were footprints all over the house, stopping at every window.
What?
What do you guys think of that one? That's scary.
It
Someone
is.
was watching them.
Oh,
watch
I
TV.
hate this.
Scary.
I hate this.
Yeah, I know.
It's horrible.
Have you guys had any experiences like that?
I actually saw like yesterday, I think on TikTok, it was like a joke, but it was like 3 people who were like doing a joke on their neighbor where they were like dressed up in very scary costumes, different costumes that were like Halloween costumes. And they were like banking on their neighbor's door saying like, let us in, trying to get in. And it's obviously like they tried to make it as do it as a joke, but it's obviously so scary for the people living there. They had like children and everything. So I don't know, they probably got like charged like with something because that's obviously not just a joke.
But was it really just a joke, or was it something
they were
behind
like
it?
they had like weapons, I think, and like banging on the door.
Oh,
but they said it was a joke. But I'd be very like scared if my neighbor was doing that.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're coming towards the end of this podcast, and I hope you liked it, and I hope you guys are not going to do any nightmares tonight. And you guys too also who are going to watch the podcast. And well, happy Halloween to everyone, and
happy Halloween.
Happy
Halloween.